Hello and welcome to the Jester's Court with me, 𝐤𝐸𝐬, and with us at almost always, Miss Mom Thulu.
Mrs. 𝐬𝐤𝐤. Jeez, like you didn't put a ring on it. Hello.
Who is my co-host and wife. And tonight we have a very special guest, former pro wrestler Joey Image.
Both work. What's going on, folks? How are you?
So you used to be a pro wrestler. I didn't know that.
Yes. I sort of still am. I'm not, but I am. Like, it's like the Marines. Like once a Marine, always a Marine.
Right,
Basically the
okay.
same thing. Yeah. Yeah. So I started in 2000, June of 2000, finished up in June of 2015, and now I'm strictly behind the scenes, and I do a little bit of commentary, play-by-play announcing, uh, managing, whatever I can, video editing, whatever I can, whatever I can do to help any company or promotion. That's what I do now.
Very cool. Is there who do you wrestle? I mean, who were you wrestling for? Like what
Um,
company?
Nobody big. I've strictly been independent, never made it big, as they say, but
Uh-huh.
at the same time, I got to live my childhood dream for 15 years. So to me, that's cool. That's big. I mean, I know, I got friends that never even attempted theirs. So,
I saw
so
some, I got to see some pro wrestlers like early on in the 90s, when they were doing some weird shit. Like, because when you're starting out, you always start for the smaller companies and you can pretty much go anywhere that they're having a wrestling show and see them. In the 90s, it was
yeah,
the best. And I remember the one I remember the most is the Christmas Creature, which he's Kane
he's
now.
Kane now. Yes, he is.
So yeah,
See,
yeah.
I know the name. I was never a huge wrestling fan. I know the name Kane. I'd never
Yeah,
heard of the Christmas creature.
Yeah,
he's 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 not only Kane now. He's the mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee.
is he really?
Yeah. Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Mom Thulu, I meant to actually mention Joey to you because he is such a horror movie fan. Matter of
uh-huh.
fact, I first time I saw or heard of him was on the Nerd Cave's annual Halloween podcast.
Oh yeah. We do it every year. I love that.
I was listening to
Oh.
that while getting my root canal done. It was keeping me distracted from, you know,
The people in your mouth.
yeah, that could go. That could be taken a different way.
Yeah.
Oh man, that reminds me of a really shitty horror movie called The People Under the Stairs.
I saw
I
that in
know
the
that
theater on
movie.
opening night.
It was so bad. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
put that one on the show.
So how's your
I, s-
week been,
I
Miss
s-
Mom? Oh, sorry. Go
sorry.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say I saw people on the stairs in the theater on opening night. It was awful.
It's really bad. I saw it in a drive-in. That's how long ago it was. In a drive-in on the concrete because my parents used to kick us out of the car when we were at the drive-in. So even as like teenagers, we would pull up. My parents would like tune the radio in, and they'd be like, "Get the fuck out of the car now!" And I'm like, "Where am I gonna go? I'm gonna be eaten up by mosquitoes." They kick you to the front of the freaking car, and you'd have to sit there on the gravel. And they gave you blankets. They're like, "Here, have the blanket." So I remember like being like pressed up against my mom's fucking grill on a blanket on the concrete, watching the people under the stairs, going, "Why did we pay money to see this?" So it
Gee,
was
I
really
wonder
bad.
why your parents wanted you out of the car while they were watching a movie at the drive-in.
Oh God, I that's because
Hmm.
I'm a movie talker. I really am.
Hmm. Oh, I was going dirty with that. Oh, you
Yeah,
very
I was
much
thinking the
are.
same thing.
You very much are a movie talker, though. So how has your week been, though, Mom Thulu? You've been having the Rona.
Oh God, I caught COVID and it kicked my ass, but I'm starting to feel like a person again, so that's good news. I got really sick though, and I'm vaccine boosted, so everybody stay safe. That's all I gotta say. The fucking kid brought him home from school, and it just. But it did teach me that my husband has got the immune system of like the gods, because like literally I was sick and he was sleeping in the bed with me, and my kids just coughing all over the freaking house, and he still didn't catch
I got a little cold.
it.
I was sniffly today. So Joey, how was your week? What's been going on?
All good, man. All good. Not bad. Not much. Just did another podcast this morning. It's every Sunday I do a pro wrestling podcast, 11 a.m. So I was up for that this morning, and then I kind of just hung out with my dog all day, and here we are. Looking forward to this for since you asked me about it, actually.
Oh God,
Um, yeah, I mean, you know how much I love this game, so and now
it's a
the
good
missus
game.
knows how much too. So
We're
It's a
gonna
good
make sure the
game.
world knows.
yeah, yeah. If they didn't from the other thing I did, then they'll learn now.
I mean, it's on your Twitter. It says right there. You've got hashtag Days Gone.
Oh yeah, in my bio, yeah.
Yeah.
There are people that have my DMs are open on Twitter because I'll talk to anybody. I don't care. So there are people that have DM'd me and thought that I worked there or that I was one of the developers that worked on the game, and I'm like, no. I'm just a gigantic fan because people saw like the picture of me with all the. So if you go on my Twitter, like that cover photo that's on top, that's from Bend, Oregon, when I went with my wife in September. There's a picture of me and a couple of the two guys that made the game and two other guys that worked on it. So people see that, and then they see the shirt that I'm wearing. I don't even know if it's in that. What I don't know what the hell picture where that picture is, but there's a picture of me wearing. So when the game first came out, there's just a plain black shirt that just has the logo on the side, the Days Gone logo, and then the Bend logo, Bend Studios or Sony Bend on the sleeves.
Mhm.
And I looked for that for months, and I'm like, I can't find this shirt. So when I hung out with the guys in September, I was like, I can't find this shirt. How do I get this, or where do I get it from, or was it promotional or whatever? And the one guy was like, it's really staff only. Those are like employee only shirts. I'm like, all right, whatever. So when we left the restaurant we were at, he was like, give me your address. I'm like, oh, cool. And that shirt showed up like a week later. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So people see a picture of me with that shirt on and with those guys and just assume like and see the hashtag in my profile, I guess, and just assume that I'm from there or worked there or had something to do with the game or something.
Well, you kind of look like Boozer. I'll be honest.
I don't know if you guys know who David Jaffe is. He is a developer. He worked for Sony for a million years. He had something to do with the either Silent Hill or Siphon Filter games. I don't remember, but he told me that I look like an extra that could have been one of the NPC characters or one of the no he one of the guys in the ambush camps in Days Gone is what he told me.
Nice.
I was like, okay, I'll take it. Other people say I look like Marcus Phoenix from Gears.
Gears.
I've heard that 1,000 times.
You look more like him than the guy who does his voice. To be honest. Now that you mentioned that,
somebody made when they put him in Fortnite. There's like the picture promoting that is like just a picture of him like this, just standing there like, and there's some kind of like logo on his hat, and it's a white logo. And my two favorite hats are this one, which is my Days Gone hat. This is the farewell hat that Deacon St. John wears in the game. This one, and then I have a War Chief Gaming hat, which is Chris Metzen's company, the guy from Blizzard, formerly of Blizzard, and that is a big W, but it's a big white thing. So if you see it from a little bit far away and you can't tell, it just looks like a white square, and that's the same thing that's on the Marcus Phoenix hat in that picture. So somebody took a picture of my face and put it on the Fortnite graphic of his body, and it's so funny. I mean, even I see it, like, it's especially with all this being white now, this crap on my face that I used to Just for Men once a month. Now I'm just tired of it. I don't have the time anymore. But it looks so much like him. It's so funny. I want to talk to like Microsoft. Hey, look, can I get some likeness royalties or something, man? I'll let you use my face, but come on.
All right, guys. Before we get too far into tonight's topic, I do want to give a shout out to our awesome patrons. Your ongoing support, you guys means the world to me. We have 𝐥𝐤𝐤, Mr. Firebrand, and the wonderful Derek Diamond, who you should check out his show, Feature Presentation.
Yeah, do it.
You do. It's a good show. You too can be a patron of the show. Just go to patreon.com/the Jesters Court. Tiers start as low as $3 a month, and you get all kinds of cool stuff, including early access to episodes, bonus materials, including we just did our second commentary track. We also just did our first ever Saturday morning cartoons, where we hang out for an hour or two on Saturday morning and just watch cartoons in the Discord.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I even got authentic 90s commercials.
Nice.
So in between the shows, you got the 90s Saturday morning cartoon commercials.
That's amazing. Do you have like you remember when Gushers first came out in the
That
90s?
was one of the commercials this past week.
Shit, that's like the best commercial. Awesome.
So yeah, come check us out. Like I said, low tier start as low as $3 a month. And even though we have already mentioned what we're talking about tonight, we're still going to do the reveal. Tonight we are talking about That's okay. I figured out how to put you guys on track so I can record. edit, I can take you out.
I hear it. I hear it through the Twitch.
Yeah, he's got the Twitch up. He can hear it. But that's right, guys. We're talking about Days Gone, released in 2019 by Sony and developed by Ben Studio. This is a post-apocalyptic action-adventure game starring Sam Witwer, which, by the way, I love him, as Deacon St. John, making his way through the world in the wake of a pandemic, which created zombie-like creatures referred to as freakers.
I thought you were gonna say making his way of the world today took everything he got. Like, oh, Sam Malone and Woody.
Have you met him? Have you met him, Joey?
Who, Sam Malone?
Sam Witwer?
Oh.
No.
No, I have not. I was thinking Cheers.
Oh.
Because the line that he just read from that description is similar to the lyrics.
Yeah.
Making your way in the world today. So that's what it made me think of. I've never met Sam Witwer. I would like to.
You know, he was at Pensacon a couple of years ago.
I was supposed to go next weekend, and I ended up not being able to make it, just money reasons. But
Yeah.
next weekend or the weekend after, one of those.
It's 2 weeks away. Yep, it's
the 18th. Yeah.
He needs to come back because I saw him from a distance and I was like, I can't get too close to him because I might.
I think if he was going to be there, I would have made it a point to get there, but just the money thing just didn't work out with my wife and I, and just weren't able to swing it, even though we've been planning on it since like November.
He's one of the disappointing misses I've had because I was there the year he was there, but I was broke, so I didn't. So like, there were so many cool people too. Like that was the year.
When was he? Was he there before or after Days Gone?
He was there before. I believe he was there 2018.
Oh wow! So Days
Yeah.
Gone wasn't even a thing. Wasn't even out yet. No.
No, but he's in everything. So.
But he had already. Yeah. I mean, they announced it in 2016, so he had already done. They had probably already finished it by then.
Right.
His part for sure was probably done. They were probably just working on the behind the scenes.
Right.
So, guys, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your experience with the game, and we'll start with Miss Momthulu.
Oh my god, I love this game. I've played it 4 times. Sometimes I just, get stuck on it. For me, this Days Gone was one of those games that I'm really into the post-apocalyptic shit. And when I first saw it, it was somebody had released. It was at one of those like game cons or whatever that they were releasing things, and there was this like epic scene of all these zombies and they were moving like a wave, and I'm sitting here looking at the guy running from him. I'm going, I know who the fuck that is. Who is that? And I'm like staring at him. I was like, that's fucking Sam Witwer. Why is Sam Witwer running from zombies? So I was like ready for that game forever. And then it came out and I didn't have the money to get it. So I just kept playing The Last of Us to kind of like fill that void, which The Last of Us is my favorite post-apocalyptic game. That's neither here nor there. And I finally was able, actually, I think you got it for me, didn't you?
I did. It was, I want to say birthday, because I think it was in the summer.
Yeah. He just shows up with it one day and I was like, oh my God. And I mean, I commandeered the TV for like 2 weeks. It was one of those games that it was so good to me that I had to plan how many hours of sleep I could get and still be able to get up and play it before work and be able to play it after work. So I'm like, I can sleep and be functional with 4 hours of sleep. So I'll go to sleep at 8 and wake up at, whatever. So yeah, that's basically how it was for me. It's a great game. It got a lot of hate and I'm really sad about that.
All right. How about Joey? How about you? What was your first experiences with the game?
Well, so it was announced 2016 at E3, and I've never been to an E3 or whatever, but I always watch the YouTube videos of the big announcement. So I saw that announcement a couple days afterwards, and I was like, "Oh, that game looks awesome!" It's like, at the time, I thought it was the zombie thing kind of irks me, but I'll explain in a minute. but I was like, "Oh, that's kind of like zombie-ish, whatever, post-apocalyptic. Looks cool. It's a dude on a bike blowing people's heads off with a shotgun. What the hell else could be?" What could be bad about that? So, or what more could you want? So I followed it and I kept hearing about, it's delayed, or whatever. And then I think like maybe a week or two, either a week before it released or the day before it released, Ben Studios released on YouTube first hour of Days Gone gameplay. It might have been a week before, something like that. No, actually that's not true. It was earlier than that because they changed it before it came out. So maybe it was a few months or up to a year ahead, something like that. I don't know. Whatever, man. You know what I mean? It was before it came out. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get to. But they released a video called First Hour of Days Gone gameplay, and at the time it was I like to call it a Choose Your Own Adventure series, because I loved the old Choose Your Own Adventure books when I was a kid.
Mhm.
My wife magically found on eBay the complete collection of like a ton of them and bought them for me a couple of years ago for Christmas. All the ones I read when I was a kid. Um, so it was like, I'll give you an example. When you first start the game, you're chasing what's his name, Leon,
Mhm.
on the motorcycle, and you find him. Blah blah blah. This is not a spoiler, but whatever. You kill him, or it's actually it's in the cinematic. You don't even do it. But in the original game, or the original, I guess the original game is the best way to put it. There was like a menu system will pop up saying kill him, let him go, or whatever the other two or three things were, and then you could choose what you wanted to do, and then that would play out to whatever storyline they wrote, and then the next choice that would branch off to something else, and then blah blah blah. So basically, it was like a choose your own adventure thing. They got rid of that, and they just made it straightforward. Like, here's a cinematic, you kill him, and that's it. But I saw that, and I was like, "Whoa, that's really cool!" Like, it looked good. It was, at the time, it was PS4 captured gameplay,
Mhm.
um, and it just looked awesome. And I love that again, that choose your own adventure style. So I was like, "Oh, this is coming out whenever the hell it was coming out." It came out April 26th, but I think it was pushed back one other time before that. And I ended up pre-ordering it on Amazon, just the standard version, and then I played it for like, I don't know, a week, fell in love with it right away, and then I bought the collector's edition, which is like another $120 after I just spent $60 on the regular one. Luckily, my wife's brother Jimmy, my brother-in-law, also saw the same YouTube video I did and wanted it, so I just gave him the extra one that came in the collector's edition. I've played through it 6 times, or 6 or 7, I think 6 times. I did 5 on PlayStation between PS4 and PS5, and then twice. All right, so 7 twice on PC. So I'm actually playing through it again. I just like, I finish it and then I just start a new game again.
It's easy to get lost in it again because it's an immersive story. It's a beautiful game. Number one. Okay, let's talk about the graphics on that game. That game is freaking beautiful. It's set in Oregon. If
Yep.
you've never been to Oregon, Oregon is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they
yeah.
really caught the beauty of Oregon in that game. So
Yeah.
the game is beautiful. The story is immersive to me, anyway. It's
Yeah.
got fucking Sam Witwer in it. I mean, come on.
You mentioned
What's
that.
not to like?
The now I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, the story is like, at the heart of it, it's a love story. It's not about zombies or post-apocalyptic or whatever. That kind of just happens to be there.
Mhm.
Like, between Deacon and his wife Sarah, it's a love story, really, like at its core. And I had a long talk when I went to lunch with the developers in Oregon. Part of a little side conversation I had with John Garvin, who's the guy that this is all his his doing. John Garvin and Jeff Ross are the two guys that made the game, but John Garvin wrote everything, storylines. Even he did all the scenery and everything. That was all him. And then Jeff was the director, so he basically took John's vision and together they made it a reality. So I had a long kind of side conversation with John about like, at the heart of the game, it's a love story. Like, guy loses his wife for 2 years, and one day gets a clue like, hey, she may still be alive, dude. Like, this is what happened. She might still be out there. And then it's like a whole different, like, he's got a whole new purpose. And it's like, I feel like not everyone can relate to that, but everyone can relate to, like, at least the loss of a loved one.
Yeah.
So that kind of is what drew me in. But yeah, it's just, I mean, it's become it's become my favorite game, I think, of all time. At least my favorite PlayStation game. I know that. Which is it's funny because the day that I got my PS5, I did an unboxing video on YouTube, and then so I knew that there was not a PS5 version of Days Gone, but there's the free, like, PS5 graphic upgrade if you install it from the PS4 version or whatever, as opposed. I mean, I'm sure if you downloaded it, it's already there, but I had to install the PS4 version off the disc and then download the PS5 update. But the first thing that I tweeted after I started playing PS5 was my favorite PS5 game is a PS4 game, and I put a picture of the Days Gone box. I'm like, man, it's just so good. The first thing I did was play that through again on PS5, and it just looks insane, man. I mean, it looks so good.
Awesome.
I don't have a PS4 Pro. I have a base PS4, so I don't have 4K on my PS4. So now that I do on PS5, it just looks so good. It looks even better on PC.
Yeah, PC always makes it look better, I think.
I think that's one of the things I want to get with my income taxes is a PS5 Pro because we have a 4K TV now.
Yeah. I love my PS5.
We'll have both new generations eventually.
Yeah.
So Joey, and for anyone listening who's new to the show, what we typically do here is break down some of the major complaints and talk about them.
Yeah.
Talk about if they're valid or not, whether or not they're valid. Or I'm sorry, talk about if they're valid or not, and whether or not they're valid. Is the property or the game still enjoyable? So in other words, we don't sit here and pretend like the thing's perfect.
Right.
No.
The goal here is to focus on the overall effect. Things have flaws. We recognize things have flaws. So we're going to get into some of those now. This saddens me. This first sentence saddens me, guys. PC Gamer has the game at a 63% approval.
Why?
We're getting into that. Of all the complaints I found, one of the biggest ones, the one we're going to start with, is because one we hear a lot when talking about video games, and that is that the missions are repetitive. It feels like busy work. For me, this is a boilerplate complaint, so I'm going to give a boilerplate answer. That's how video games work. The side missions, go and fetch objectives, they're annoying, yeah. But that's how you get gear. That's how you get experience. That's how you level. It's a necessary component of any game that isn't a platformer or just a straight shooter.
Right.
If you don't want to go and fetch missions, go play Mario Brothers.
Right. People play Days Gone for like a week, and they're like, "Oh, I did the same mission at one camp that I had to do at another camp. It was just with different NPCs." And I'm like, "I've been playing WoW since 2004. You know how many evil boars I've killed and how many dinosaur bones I've collected in every single expansion? Like, get over it, man. Come on, dude."
Right.
Like,
What I mean,
you just wrapped it up perfectly. It gives you experience. It gives you experience as in experience points on your character, but experience as in here's the game. Like, you're getting experience on how to play it, what the buttons do, the controls. You're getting used to the atmosphere, the environment. I mean, I've heard that complaint a lot too, and it just never bothered me.
Yeah. Also because, in other games, let's say, for example, some of the big games that are out there, first person shooters, okay, like Fortnite or battle royales and shit like that. What is the objective? You're just shooting people, right? So you're just repetitively shooting people.
Yes.
Every single game that you play has repetition. So when you hear that sort of complaint, you're just like, what the fuck kind of games are you playing that it's not repetitive? Because it's repetitive all the time.
Right. Every Call of Duty game that comes out is the same, but they're just different maps.
It's different skin. It's just a different skin on the same.
Right. Yeah. And they're coming out with like 2 a year now or whatever. So like they're just raking in money off these Call of Duty addicts. I play Call of Duty, but like I'm still playing Warzone from whatever, a year and a half, 2 years ago. Like it's the same as whatever the hell is the one that just came out. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
so repetition is to be expected when you're playing a game, especially a role-playing game, like kind of like this one, which is kind of like a shooter role-playing game or whatever. But it's an adventure game. It's set in a post-apocalyptic environment where you've got to murder zombies, or not really zombies, but infected individuals. Like, what else are you supposed to do? That's literally the game. It says it.
I wake up every morning and I go to work, and then I come home and then I have dinner with my wife, and then I watch a little bit of TV, hang out with my dog, and go to bed. I do the same thing the next day. It's repetitive.
It's repetitive.
Life is repetitive.
And in an RPG, what's the alternative? Unearned gear? Like, congratulations, you're 1 hour into the game. Here's a fancy new gun. No, you got to work for that gun.
Right.
Right. So I just want to say that's a bullshit. That's a bullshit reason. What's the next one?
And just like that, we're on to the next gripe. This is the one actually that pisses me off more than anything else, because I saw this more than a few times. The story is tedious and it feels like a high school drama. And to me, that's a two-parter. First off, high school drama is obviously referring to your relationship with Sarah and the various camps. I don't get that feel at all.
I don't either. It never even dawned on me.
It doesn't feel like a high school drama.
You would be surprised how many different threads I saw talking about it being like that. And I want to defend against it, but I didn't get that vibe at all.
Neither did I. I don't.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't get that one. I don't get either one of them. I don't get the high school drama thing
Well,
either,
and
or the tedious
to
thing.
the other point, because I said it was a two-parter, the tedious story. I'm gonna throw out a quote from Sam Witwer, who has been quoted as saying when a lot of the negative reviews are from reviewers not playing through the whole game.
Yeah,
Which
that's probably right.
I love him, and it is absolutely correct because it's a slow burning game.
Yeah,
if you try to do a review, if you play 30 minutes worth of like, okay, I'm gonna do a review now, it's gonna suck.
I heard a rumor, and again, this is just a rumor, so I don't know if this is true. Before anyone in Twitch land, comes burying me or attacking me, but I heard that there was one review website, and this was when it first came out, and at the time I heard it was IGN, but I don't really think IGN would do something like this. But what I heard was that this bad review that came in was from a reviewer or a site that did not get a pre-release copy of the game, so they didn't play it. They just piggybacked off of 2 or 3 other negative reviews that they saw and basically put together their own off of that. Again, I don't know how true that is. That was whatever, 3 years ago almost now. And I don't think it was IGN, but for some reason IGN sticks out in my head when I think about that. But that was the rumor that I heard, that whoever this wasn't even given a preview copy of it, so they didn't play it anyway.
Oh, they
So
were jealous.
I don't know. That's what I heard. Again, I don't remember who that was, but yeah, there was like Mike said, there was a lot of people that played it for 20-30 minutes, like, okay, cool, let's review this. And that might be why they think it's repetitive, because they only played the first 20-30 minutes, like,
it is
which a lot of that is cinematic anyway. You know,
the only thing I can think of when they talk about it being tedious or the story being tedious, they've got to be talking about the stealth missions where you're listening in on the, what is it, the NEO, the Neo,
the Nero,
Nero, yeah.
What do you call it? The radios or whatever. Yeah.
And that's where you get a lot of the backstory of the game, obviously. And
I was gonna say, yeah, that's cool to me though, because you get a lot of the backstory right there.
And they don't just give it to you. You have to work for it. And yeah, I hate stealth missions. I loathe stealth missions. But they made you work for it. You didn't just walk into a meet this guy and okay, now it's a 20-minute video of what's going on. No, it was missions and you got little pieces of it. And to me, that was cooler than any other. I mean, am I wrong here?
No, and to me, anybody who says that the story was tedious, what I heard was that a lot of people saying the story was generic. They didn't take the time to connect with the characters. Number one, from the start, you know that Deacon is a very deep individual. And so those people, I just have to say, they're emotionally autistic. And I'm pulling that from the IT crowd, just because, they're dumb. They have no empathy. Deacon is ride or die for his best friend, Boozer. From the beginning, Boozer gets hurt and you spend all this time trying to get him better, like in between. It's such a good story. And he's got so much depth.
How attached are you to Boozer? Because when I watched her play this game for 2 weeks before I got to play it.
Yeah.
And I made fun of Boozer the whole time. I'm like, just kill him. Just get it over with.
Hey, can I tell you a little tidbit?
Yeah.
The reason why the choose your own adventure element was removed is because there were certain choices that if you chose them would kill Boozer, and that means the ending of the game couldn't happen, so it would never finish. And they didn't. That's what I was getting at, is when you play yourself. They didn't think of that ahead of time, because obviously the finish, the end of the game involves a lot of Boozer. And if you picked whatever those certain choices were, which they didn't tell me that specifically, you would have killed off Boozer, thus never being able to finish the game.
That's hilarious.
I like a choose your own adventure where you can break the game, because usually they protect you from those choices.
Oh my god!
Now, our son is famous for going into Skyrim and breaking the game in the first 5 minutes.
He says our son. He means my kid. My kid is notorious for going into Skyrim and using unrelenting force in the very first town and pissing off the whole town. So he breaks the whole town. They all hate you, and then they start chasing you around. And if you murder one of them, then they just continue to chase you, and you can't get any further in the game. And I'm just sitting here every time he's fucking done it, I'm just like, Brian, why are you doing that? And he's like, I don't know. I just did. And I'm like, you're never going to get anywhere if you don't stop Fusro dying like the chickens. And
so yeah, Boozer, when you actually play the game, is a lot more, you get a lot more attached to him than you did when I was just watching over his shoulder, like, oh God, shut that guy up. Just.
That's how I played it when I first got it. I mean, you can't see it now, but there's a couch behind me in our computer room / home office, and she would just lay on the couch, and I would play through the whole thing. Same thing with both of The Last of Us, GTA 5, Days Gone. She would just watch. She likes games that have a story to them. Like, anybody can turn on Super Mario Brothers and like, it's fun, it's good, it's what I grew up on, but there's not a lot of substance
you
to
like
that.
the story immersive ones, yeah.
Yeah. So she always, anytime I get something like that, she always hangs out and watches. But she was the same way. She hung out and watched me play it for the whole time that I played through the first couple times.
Poor Jester didn't have a choice. He had to watch me because I commandeered the TV.
The PS4 is in the living room, and
I'd come in and he'd be watching freaking something like. Oh,
you were about to say something stupid. You were about to say he was watching something stupid.
I was waiting to see what this stupid thing was.
Smallville. That's the one thing that he watches the most.
Not stupid. Somebody's. I can't sing the theme song because we'll get copyrighted. But it sounds so much like the real one. That's a great show, man.
Yeah, he'd be watching it, and I'd come out and be like, "So, do you mind if I turn this off? I'm just gonna turn it off and just play the game."
I still haven't finished it. My when I was with my ex, we used to watch it every week, and since her and I split up, I haven't really watched much of it. But God, I still love that show. I have like the box set, the complete series.
Oh yeah, Jester watches it every time.
Or whatever. It's so good.
Every time the Notion takes him.
I've watched it twice since we've been together, and we've been together for 5 years now. She's like, I watch it all the time.
He goes through these. Okay, so he goes through these. Most, I guess, normal people do this. I'm not, because ADHD. But he'll go through these things where he'll be like, "Hey, I'm gonna watch Smallville from start to finish." He's done it with ER too, and like other shows. And then I'll be like, I'm going to watch this show from start to finish, but then I'll be like murder shows in the middle of it. And then I'll get sidetracked and never finish it.
We're still trying to catch up on Cobra Kai because it's a we have to watch together show, which means I have to wrangle her down to watch it.
Yeah, that's how Angela and I are like that. My wife, Angela, we're like that with a couple of shows. We're like, I'm like, she's at work, and I'm like, damn, it's only a half hour. I can watch it right now. And then I'll go to put on, I'm like, wait a minute, I got to wait. She's at work. I have to watch it together. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, we made the commitment to finish Cobra Kai together.
Yeah, luckily she doesn't care about Cobra Kai, so I watched all of it. I've seen every season the day it comes out. I mean, I'm like, except for the next Karate Kid and the Willow Smith version or Jaden Smith, whatever that was. Except for those two, I'm like, I love the rest of it. 1, 2, and 3, and the whole series.
I want to say you're close to our age, and that was a huge part of our child. Like I was born in 1980. And that was a huge part of growing up.
I was born in 77. My wife was born in 80.
So that was a huge part. There was a few movies in our childhood, Karate Kid, Willow, Top Gun, that Ghostbusters. Just that was our childhood. And
I remember when I got Top Gun for NES and the theme song came on. I'm like, this is so great.
And until you try to land after the first mission.
Yeah. I've not gotten any better at flying in games. Other than WoW, because it's simply just left and right, up and down. But like GTA, when you take the plane or the helicopter, I can't do that either. I'm like, it's terrible.
Well, I was playing Far Cry, the new one, Far Cry 6.
6, yeah.
And I'm terrible at the flying parts of the game, right? Because I like crashed like 5 times.
I haven't played that yet.
I look over at Mike and I say, God damn it, I can't do this. And I hand him the controller and I'm like, get me through this mission. And the first thing that he does is press the parachute button.
I have never played the game, so the first thing I did is start hitting buttons to figure out what they did.
Yeah.
And apparently the first one I did was eject.
Yeah. I haven't played Far Cry 6 yet either, but I want to because I love Gus Fring. Or Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh yeah, it's one of the people I'm looking forward to meeting at Pensacon. I've got a moth pop for him to sign.
Is that my dog whining?
I was gonna say I couldn't tell if that's your dog or mine, but mine.
That's River. Our dog River is whining because we have to separate them when we do the show, otherwise they fight.
Oh, I only have one, thankfully.
But that's a good segue as any to go into our last complaint, and that is that the NPCs are two-dimensional. Bad guys are just bad to be bad, and I can see this one. I'm gonna be fair with this one, but I don't fault the game for that. It's whenever you have a game that doesn't have a main villain, like we're going after Bowser or we're going after
Yeah.
Ganon. You're gonna have a lot of people that you have to get into the game without that. You're not gonna have time to spend backstory and development on every bad guy you run into.
It's almost like in this game, it's almost like the environment is the villain. Like after 2 years of this pandemic.
And the environment and the way they incorporate the environment is one of the things I love about the game.
Yeah.
With the rain affects how the freakers act, and
Yes, that's so cool.
Oh
yeah,
my
the
God,
AI is really cool.
So I like that. I hadn't thought of it from that angle, but I like that. The environment is the main bad guy.
Yeah, it's almost like just because it's been 2 years with the pandemic, and you find out how it started, and you're like, whoa, what a twist that is! Like, holy shit! And then, and then you find out that there's not what do you call it? It's not a biochemical weapon being made. That she's trying to make a cure for the disease or whatever. I don't even remember what it was called. Um, but yeah, that's like another twist. But it all like just I don't know. It's like the environment is the whole. I don't want to say it's the whole game, but it's like a major. To me, the environment is like its own character.
To me, that's what escalates the game from all the other ones like this, and that's what kind of puts a little cherry on top and moves it to the top of the list for me is the beauty of the graphics, but also how they incorporate the world around you into the game.
Yeah, going to Oregon in September was the first time I was ever there. Was really cool because, well, first of all, finding out that a lot of those places, or most of the places in the game, were real places. I'm like, this is insane. Like, we could just fly there. Like, my wife and I were like, hey, why don't we just go to Oregon and check out all these locations? It's crazy. So we went everywhere. We went to Iron Mike's camp is Lost Lake. We went there. We went to in the game it's called Iron Butte, but in real life it's Black Butte.
Mhm.
Same thing. We went there. We went to the Belknap Hot Springs. We went to Jesus, everywhere. I don't even remember. Um, Diamond Lake was closed for some reason, but it's okay. It was 3 hours away from where we stayed. It would have been a whole day just going there and back. We're gonna hit Diamond Lake next time though, because luckily there's an airport right by there. Um, but we went to like Portland, which is part of the game also, and we were on like I-94 or whatever the highway was. We drove up and down that, and we went to the Horde, those lava caves that the Horde hangs out in. We went to
Mhm.
those. Those are really freaking spooky, but really cool at the same time. We went to the last blockbuster in existence in Bend, which is not unfortunately not in the game. I wish there was like I really wanted to see like maybe Camp Sherman went there, Sherman's camp or whatever.
Mhm.
I would love to have seen like one of those buildings in Sherman's camp in that town. This should be a blockbuster, just to have the logo. But I'm sure that you have to pay somebody for it. But yeah, we went to all those locations, and then while we're like, so for example, like Belknap Hot Springs in the game is just a camp. It's Tucker's camp where she's basically a slave driver and everyone's doing her bidding or whatever. So when we get there, in real life, it's just a camp. Like, there's nothing. I mean, they don't even have. You can't even get internet connection there, except for in their office, and that's it. The Wi-Fi cuts out literally as you go out the front door of their office. There's nothing else, and they're not even. There's regular campgrounds, like, just open fields and stuff, but there's cabins that have no television, no telephone, no internet. So there's a little old school like RCA DVD player in each one, hooked up to a giant TV, which is so odd. Like I walked in, I'm like, there's like a 60-inch TV in here, and like a DVD player the size of my phone, but but they don't have like they couldn't put a cable box in here or something. So when I first got there, I was like, I told my wife, like, the hell kind of place did you bring us to? Like, this sucks. Like, there's no internet in there, and I can't get this, I can't get that. But then eventually I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. It's peaceful. No one's bothering me. My phone hasn't rang in hours because it doesn't have I don't have a signal. I have no internet, so no one's been DMing me or anything like that. This is great. But when we went there, I was like, this looks like hot springs. Like, there's hills and there's little campgrounds and there's little like um not not vendor tents. What do you call it? You know when you go to turn in like the meat, there's
Yeah.
the vendor that says kitchen or something like that,
Right.
or meat, whatever it says. One of them has a sign that says kitchen. I think it's might be Lost Lake, but there's people there with RVs in real life. There's people there with RVs that are outside barbecuing and have like tables set up and big grills and stuff. It kind of reminded me of that area. So
Nice.
it was real cool to see. I think one of the coolest things. Sorry to go off on a tangent. But I think one of the coolest things we saw was Lost Lake, because it's literally a lost lake. So when it gets hot out, the lake dries up, and
Oh,
there's
wow.
little the lake dries up and it forms what do you call the big holes in the ground? Sinkholes.
Yeah.
So it forms sinkholes, and the water drains into those underground tunnels. Those lava caves are called. And then once the rain comes back, it fills up the lake again, and that's what happens. It's just a big cycle. So when the lake disappears, it's called Lost. I mean, it's called Lost Lake anyway, but that's why. So
Now-
we went there. There was no water there because it was 100 degrees out. But I got pictures.
Now,
I got
now
pictures in
I'm
front of-
picturing in the game the lake being gone and there being freakers in the damn sinkhole crawling out.
That would be a cool little twist.
That needs to be some
Oh,
DLC. Ben, if
let
you're
me,
listening, you get on that.
Let me mention the zombie thing, but by the way, that I mentioned before, because this has now been ingrained in my head by John Garvin, again, the guy that created all this. People call it like a zombie game, and the difference is that zombies are reanimated dead,
Yeah, these
and
guys are sick.
freakers are infected living humans.
Right.
So, and John tweeted that and put definitions matter. But now if you say zombie, he's like, yeah, just go with it. Like, so many people say it. I can't win. Just go with it.
It's the same with The Last of Us. Like people call it a zombie game, but it's really not. It's a pandemic
clickers.
game.
Yeah.
Right. Because nobody's dead. They're all alive.
Yeah.
Right. They're just taken over by the cordyceps fungus, which oh God, I can't even the science on that game is so fascinating to me because it was like real fungus.
Yeah.
Right. So they use like a real theory. I was like, oh, so good.
So, what was I gonna say? The Days Gone freakers to me look exactly like the Will Smith I Am Legend.
Yeah, I Am Legend.
yeah.
They're even like at some point in the game, he's talking about what's his name? The science guy. I forgot his name. It's like something.
Oh, O'Brien.
O'Brien. There we
Nero
go.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's talking about in the freakers have to go underground and stuff like that in the colder because they're sensitive to light, but they're also sensitive to the cold. And it's the same thing with I Am Legend. Yeah.
Yeah, I never put that together before.
Well, and that's a good homage because I Am Legend, the short story is where all like all the zombies, everything you look at now, modern zombies came from that short story.
Yeah,
right.
I've never read it. I never read the book, and I never saw the original movie, The Last Man on Earth or whatever that was based on, or that's where it came from or something like that. I never saw that, but I love the Will Smith movie.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
That's the granddaddy of modern zombie.
Yeah. So when I first started playing Days Gone, that's what I thought of. Like, oh, these are the guys from
I Am Legend.
Smith gonna pop up somewhere. Like,
I don't think they can afford them.
And
that's saying a lot because it's Sony.
Yeah.
I do have to say that my one and only complaint about this game is that I am left with a giant hole because I'll never know how it ended. There's so many what ifs in my mind. You know, like during the whole game, you're playing as Deacon, you're shooting yourself up with Nero injectors. What if Deacon has given himself?
You played through it all the way to the
end.
So you got the what's it called ending? The secret ending, right?
The secret ending?
The O'Brien ending?
Yes.
Okay, that's
where you find out that O'Brien is a freaker,
evolved,
right?
Yeah. He's getting there. I was like so bummed when they were like, nope, no sequel. I'm like, what?
I have so many questions, right? Because you're like, well, I mean, in my mind, you would think that this whole time you're playing as Deacon and he's shooting himself up with the Nero injectors and stuff like that. He's augmenting himself in my mind. I was like, oh my God, they've opened it up. Now Sarah can go off and she's got to be trying to save Deacon or something because now Deacon's going to turn into a freak.
That would be a beautiful sequel right there.
That was something that I thought of too. It was actually originally intended to be a trilogy.
They need to make it a trilogy. I mean, they
I
just
don't
need
know.
to do it.
What's the hold up? It made money.
I don't know what would have been in 2 and 3. And I don't even think it was public knowledge that it was supposed to be a trilogy. John Garvin had told me that, but I heard it from somebody else online, so it's already out there. So sorry, John. But but yeah, I don't know. Supposedly it didn't. I guess, I mean, it made money, but I guess they're more looking at, well, all these people said it sucked, and these are all important reviewers.
Studios get bogged down in so much crap. One of the episodes we did early on was Superman Returns, and it was the same thing.
I liked it.
It made a buttload of money, but it didn't hit the threshold that Warner Brothers wanted.
Right.
There was a line in the sand where they wanted the movie to make this. Yeah, and it didn't hit that. So they're
when Days Gone came out, they wanted like an 80 or an 82 Metacritic score, and it got a 71.
It got 70, right?
Because it's like out of 10. Okay, well that's it. I'm like, what? Come on, like, so a 70 now is like didn't games used to get 70s and 80s all the time, and people were and they were like praised as these great games, like Jeff Ross, the games director, like he was the one that tweeted a couple weeks ago about. When Sony tweeted, "Hey, Ghost of Tsushima sold 8 million copies, great, congratulations, blah blah," and then Jeff Ross quote tweeted and said, "How come when Days Gone sold their 8 millionth copy, you guys made us feel like we were a failure because we only sold 8 million?" And then his name was all over the place for like 3 or 4 days. People were shitting on him, like, "Oh, he's just sour and he's bitter. He's bitter about not being there anymore," and blah blah blah. And like, no, it's not that at all. It's like, how did the standards become lower? How was that lowered?
And how many games when we were growing up in the 80s that were like impossible for a kid to beat got sequels?
Yeah. I know.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has like 4 games. I, as an adult, still can't get through that freaking first one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I feel like no one even knows. You could just repeat the whole second half of the game. No one's going to know you did it.
Yeah. How come the Goonies didn't get an original and it only got the Goonies 2? That bothers me. Huh?
There's a good question.
Yeah, that bothers me. But anyway.
So guys, go ahead.
I think I just want to bring up one more complaint, and that you didn't mention, was that a lot of people said how many bugs there were because the PS4 hardware wasn't powerful enough to run this game smoothly and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I'm one of the few people that didn't have any bugs or any glitches. And I actually spoke to Jeff Ross about this at lunch too, and he was like, "Here's the thing." He goes, "Here's what we heard internally. This is what we were told. If you had glitches, you had a ton of them. Some players had so many that was unplayable, but on the other end, there were some people that didn't have any problems at all, that played the whole game without an issue and loved it." I'm like, I had no problems.
Yeah, I don't think
I had no issue either.
Yeah, we had no issues.
Right, I didn't either. And there are people that are online saying, like, I've seen a couple people on Twitter say that there's still certain bugs that are still there on the PS5 version. Like, I definitely have no problems on there at all. And the only bugs or issues that I've had on PC were through my own fault, because I added like 60 mods when I first got it on PC. So I'm like, well, that's because this conflicted with this, and then I figured that out later, and I'd remove one and figure out what the problem was. But I haven't had any issues there either. And I'm like, what are these people talking about? Until like Jeff Ross told me, like, oh, there were, if you had whatever, if you had a glitch, if you did have glitches, you had a lot of them. And I'm like, I had nothing. I don't understand.
I wonder if they looked at the correlation between like versions of the PlayStation. In other words, did the hardware get fixed later on? So maybe like I had the first generation 360 when it came out, that I went through 4 of them before they finally fixed all the overheating. And they paid for it. They they replaced them. So I wonder if maybe it was people with early versions of the PlayStation that had issues.
Did these people never play Skyrim and watch their horse like ET phone home into the universe?
You know what? I have the first release PS4. I got it when it came out, and I never had a problem.
To Mom
I have the White Destiny version.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have the White Destiny version.
Yeah, I have. So I got that when that first came out. I don't think that was the one that came out originally. I know the original.
No, it was
the
a
black one.
black one.
To Mom Thulu's point, I played Fallout 76 when it came out.
Oh my
And you want to talk
god.
about bugs? There's bugs. I did ESO as beta. I got on the beta
Oh wow,
release.
wow.
That was buggy as hell.
I haven't played ESO in age. I have it on PS4. I haven't touched it.
I love the thought of it, but I could never get into it.
Yeah, I couldn't
just-
either. I mean, I can't. I think it's just because I can't do MMOs on a console. Like I'm so used
I
to
know
the
we're
keyboard and
almost
mouse.
done, and then we'll go outside. You gotta calm down.
Speaking to Mom Thulu talking to our dog, it is time for final thoughts. And
Oh my God,
per
I can go on
usual,
for hours.
it is an hour show though. So yeah, as for most things, the game's flawed. There are issues. There are always issues. But this to me is still very much a fun game. I love open world adventures. I love, as we talked about, how they incorporate the world around you. Excuse me. To be the game, top tier, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
No, it's a fucking awesome game. Get over yourself and go play it. That's all I can say.
That's
It's
the
really
best
good.
way to put it. I love just one really quick last final thought about the game itself. And I did this with GTA. Sometimes I'm just sitting home, I'm bored, I'm like nothing on TV, my dog's asleep, I already ate, I'm lazy, I just want to sit around and do nothing. I'll pop in GTA, I'll steal a car, and I'll just drive around for a couple hours around the city, just looking at the scenery and the graphics and stuff. I'll do that with Days Gone for even more hours, just driving around the bike through the will. Now it's different because I'm like, hey, I've been there, like in real life, like I've been to that location, or like I know what's over there, whatever. But yeah, I'll just hop on the bike and just drive around
Isn't
for
it
hours.
so
hang out.
cool where you get games where you can do that? And it's funny you mentioned GTA because Rockstar is one of the ones that does that pretty well. Like Red Dead.
Yeah,
Red Dead's
yeah.
another one of those games you could just get on your horse and just start
I
riding
never
around.
played it, but I have Red Dead 2, but I've never
You need to
played
play it.
I think
It's
I have
so
it on,
good.
on PlayStation.
That is probably my favorite game. Like The Last of Us, Days Gone. They just cannot top Red Dead 2 for me. I will sit there and play it and do nothing for hours but ride around on a horse. Just ride around on a
that's my
horse.
point. Is I love games like that.
Yeah, I gotta play it. I do have to play it.
It's so good. There's so many things you can do. You can rob trains. You can rob banks. Yeah, it's great. I love being a cowboy. That's just all I'm gonna say about that.
We call it Cowboy Simulator when we play it here at the house.
Cowboy Simulator 2018.
If you ever catch one of my streams saying Cowboy Simulator, we're playing Red Dead 2 or we're playing Red Dead Online.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but somebody told me that there's a game that came out recently called Work Simulator or Job Simulator.
Yeah, Job Simulator. It's
What?
on the Oculus. Yeah.
Why would I want that?
It's fun.
I want to leave work and come home and play
It's
games.
really-
I don't want to come home and work.
It's really campy. It's really campy. And there's also like gas station simulator and stuff like that. So
God.
it's so fun.
I love my Oculus, but I'm gonna ignore Job Simulator.
I promise you, even if you were to get it, it's really funny.
I did play Surgeon Simulator recently.
Oh God, I've got
Oculus.
Surgeon Simulator 2 on the PC. It's fucking
Oh,
hard
really?
to do on the PC.
I have the Oculus version, and the first, I don't even know if they're called missions or whatever. First mission I had to do was a heart transplant, and I
Mhm.
just couldn't get it. And then I was just moving stuff around. I couldn't figure it out. And then a giant box pops up on the screen and says, "Complete failure. You managed to kill this man in 2 minutes and 56 seconds." I'm like, I don't even know what happened. I don't know what I'm doing here.
You're just pulling his
That
head
sounds
off.
like
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like an accomplishment to me. I killed him in 2 minutes, man.
That's a great. That's a good idea for a live stream. Like whoever wins it, like whoever can do it quickest gets a free.
That
shirt
should
or
be an
whatever, I don't know.
achievement. If you're playing
Yes.
on like getting Xbox, that should be an
That's even
achievement.
funnier. That's even funnier.
It's a good game, Surgeon
Oh,
Simulator.
man.
Oh, guys. So as we wrap up, guys, Mom Thulu, tell the fine folks where they can find you.
You can find me on laundry days at twitch.tv/momthulu. I like to play Red Dead 2. Today I played some game called Strange Horticulture. Sometimes I just go through Steam and play obscure weird shit. You can find me there, but starting February the 14th, you can find me on any streaming or any of where you get your podcasts is what I'm trying to say. You can find me where you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. Check us out at the Innsmouth Rag. That's our new baby coming up. We're going to be talking about horror movies and just basically ragging on them. That's what we're doing. It's going to be fun. Please come see us.
Nice. And Joey, thank you so much for coming out. What do you got on the horizons?
Oh, thanks for having me on, man. I just realized that you guys followed me on Twitter under the other podcast account the other day.
Yeah, I
I gotta
did.
find it. Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, that's that name I couldn't recognize. I mean, I couldn't pronounce it when I was 2 a.m. and I was tired. You can find me on all social platforms, 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐤, please. Hashtag Days Gone. I don't know. Here I am. I don't know. Call me. I don't know
My
what the hell.
people, call your people.
Yeah, I don't know. This is awesome, and I could talk about Days Gone for hours. And
It's a great game.
maybe I don't know. Anybody else has a Days Gone podcast or show or Twitch or stream or YouTube, whatever. Let me know. I'll talk all about it. Thanks.
Hey
I
guys,
can't give away any secrets, but I do know some.
you do. Guys, thanks for listening so much. And again, Joey, thank you for coming out. Be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for that Jester's Court and you'll find us. And if you like the show, do a review. It really helps with the algorithms, getting the show out there to other people, because our life is run by algorithms now. Be sure to check out our merch store. You can get some cool stuff like this shirt that I'm wearing.
Yeah.
The link's in the bio. And
I can get that from my wife. She was born in 1980.
hey,
Keeping it awkward.
keep it up since 1980.
That's brilliant.
There's a whole line. There's coffee mugs and everything. You should guys go check it out. Merch link is in the about us. And tune in next week for, I believe, I want to say that if Jay confirmed, we're going to do, I forgot if our guest host confirmed. If Jay confirmed, it's going to be about MASH. And is the movie better than the TV series? Because I'm apparently in the minority in thinking that the movie is better than the series.
I won't be joining you on that one.
And if Jay did not confirm, then me and Mom Thulu will be talking about The Rocketeer.
Oh, yay,
wow.
The
I haven't
Rocketeer. Now I'm
seen
going to
that
go
in
watch
years.
that again. I got to bail because this dog really has to pee.
Well, on that note, again, thank you, everyone, and we're going to get out. See ya.